Hi students, this is A. Mandari Kumar Rajesh. In this video, we are going to discuss topics like asexual reproduction in algae, vegetative reproduction in algae, and sexual reproduction in algae. Before we get into the topic, I would like to give you some more information about algae. Algae are eukaryotes, except blue-green algae, Cyanophyceae or cyanobacteria. So, Cyanophyceae are comes under prokaryotic type of cell, contains prokaryotic type of cells. They do not have well-defined nucleus. They do not have membrane-bound organelles. Nucleolus are absent. Nuclear membranes are absent. While in the case of other algae, they are comes under eukaryotic cell type. They contain nuclear membrane, nucleolus, well-defined nucleus, membrane-bound organelles. Then the plant body is not differentiated into root, stem and leaf. Their cell wall is composed of different chemicals. There are different kinds of classes in algae and their cell wall is made up of different chemicals. For example, in Chlorophyceae, the cell wall is composed of cellulose, hemicellulose, pectin. In diatoms comes under the class Basidiophyceae. In diatoms, the cell wall is composed of silica. It is otherwise called as diatomous earth because after the death of that algae, the cell wall remains in the environment as a fossil. That is why they are called as diatomous earth. Phaeophyceae. Phaeophyceae means brown algae. Their cell wall composed of alginates. In Rhodophyceae means red algae. The cell wall composed of carrageenan and agar. Then Charaophyceae. Charaophyceae means it is a type of algae. Example, Chara. This Chara thallus is encrusted with calcium carbonate. That is why it is otherwise called as stoneworts. This Chara is otherwise called as stonewort because the thallus is encrusted with calcium carbonate. Then another structure called pyrenoids. The algae contains pyrenoids. It is a proteinaceous structure which is found in chloroplast. Pyrenoids is a proteinaceous structure which is found in chloroplast. The main function of the pyrenoid is storage of starch material. While in the case of Basidiophyceae, these pyrenoids are used to store lipids. So in the case of Basidiophyceae, pyrenoids are used to accumulate lipids. In general, pyrenoids are a proteinaceous structure which are found in chloroplast and they can store starch material. Then pigmentation, reserve food material and flagellation differ among the algal groups. Then I am going to tell you the different types of reproduction: asexual, sexual and vegetative type of reproduction. Let us talk about the vegetative reproduction in algae. In this type of reproduction, the vegetative part of the thallus can act like a reproductive structure. It can give rise to a new young one. In this type of reproduction, there is no spore formation, there is no alternation of generation happens, and it is the most common method of reproduction in algae. Then let us discuss the types of vegetative reproduction in algae. The first type, fission or cell division. That means that cell can divide mitotically into two equal daughter cells, and that type of reproduction is called as fission or cell division. Example, Chlamydomonas. The second type, fragmentation. Multicellular filamentous algae can break down into different pieces. Each piece can develop into a new algae and alga, and that type of reproduction is called as fragmentation. Example, Ulothrix. The third one, budding. Lateral buds are arised on the parent. Later it detaches from the parents and develop into a new young one, and that type of reproduction is called as budding. Example, protosiphon. The fourth one, bulbil. Wedge-shaped modified branch develop into a new young one. Example, fascillaria. Example, fascillaria. Then echinates. Echinates means thick wall resting spore under dormant condition, that is perniation. In animals, we are used to tell hibernation and estivation, winter sleep and summer sleep. While in the case of plants, it is called as perniation. They are under dormant condition during unfavorable condition. During favorable condition, it become a new young one. Then, moreover, it can store food materials. This echinates can store food materials. During favorable condition, it become a new young one. Example, Pithopora. Then the final one is tubers, a structure which is found in the rhizoids. Rhizoids means a root-like structure, and they are found in the chara, lower node of chara, which can store food material. This tuber can detach from the parent and it can develop into a new young one. Example, chara. So that's all about vegetative reproduction in algae. Then I'm going to tell you the asexual reproduction in algae. Let me tell you asexual reproduction in algae. Asexual reproduction means absence of sexual reproduction. In asexual reproduction, spores are produced. From that spore, new young ones are developed. Then let us talk about the types of spores which are produced by the thallus. The first type, zoospores. Zoospores means that spores are motile. They have flagella. They can move from one place to another place and they can propagate themselves. That spores are called as zoospores. Example, Ulothrix oedogonium. Then the second type is alpinospore. That means absence of movement, absence of flagella. They are non-motile spores. Example, Poucheria. Then autospores. Autospores are non-motile spores which are produced inside the parent cell. These spores are produced inside the parent cell and it resembles the parent cell before it releases. It resembles the parent cell before it releases, and that type of spores are called as autospores and they are non-motile. Example, chlorella. Then hypnospores. Hypnospores are thick-walled resting spores. In some algae, they are non-motile. Hypnospores are non-motile and they are thick-walled resting spores. Example, Chlamydomonas nivalis. Then the last one is tetraspores. Tetraspores means the thallus contains diploid nucleus in tetrasporangium. That diploid nucleus undergoes meiosis and produces 4 haploid nucleus and 4 haploid spores. And that spores are called as tetraspores and they can develop into a new young one. Example, Polysiphonia. So that's all about asexual reproduction in algae. Then I'm going to tell you sexual reproduction in algae. The final topic, sexual reproduction in algae. Sexual reproduction means fusion of gametes takes place. In sexual reproduction, alternation of generation takes place. Let us talk about the sexual reproduction types. There are 3 types of sexual reproduction. They are isogamy, anisogamy and oogamy. Iso means same. Gamy means fusion of gametes. So isogamy means fusion of both physiologically, morphologically similar gametes. Example, Ulothrix. Then anisogamy means fusion of either physiologically or morphologically dissimilar gametes. And that type of fusion of gametes is called as anisogamy. Example, Pandorina. Then oogamy means the fusion of gametes in both dissimilar, morphologically and physiologically dissimilar. That means the female gametes are non-motile and they are large in size, while in the case of male they are motile and they are smaller in size. and oogamy type is an advanced type of sexual reproduction. So example, sargassum. Example, sargassum. So that's all about the sexual reproduction in algae. With this information, I'm going to conclude this video. If you have any doubt, please let me know. Thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you.